I wanted to do it so bad, and my hands were stupid. They couldn't make what I was seeing come out on the paper. So to answer your question, no, I don't storyboard. I have a very clear image in my head, and pretty much, I'm also very flexible as a director. I'm not married to any. I think a lot of the creative process happens on the set, and I like to let my actors evolve and let my camera movements evolve. I give my DD a lot of room to experiment and play, because Stanley Kubrick actually said my best ideas came from the grips. So, I believe in the collaborative process.
Yeah, that's definitely, that's really cool. As far as the only other set, I guess, was the restaurant that you had. I mean, did you actually shoot at a restaurant a little bit there to get that effect, or
Absolutely. We shot in 2 restaurants, actually. Opie's Southbound Grill.
Yeah, that's right, on the door there, yeah.
Right. That is no longer in existence.
Oh, wow.
But I was working there, and I asked him if I could shoot there, and he said, yeah. We did shoot in North Carolina, so people are a lot more, oh, wow, you're making a film. It's not like shooting in L.A. We're like, oh, God, you're making a film.
Exactly.
And then the Twin City Chop House is where we shot most of it. The bar scene with the 3 girls talking.
Okay.
Everything else in the restaurants was shot at the Twin City Chop House, and I was waiting tables there, which is where the phone call happened with the girlfriend of the manager. So I talked to my manager, and he was down with it. He really supported me. Tom and Mike Kimball were managing at that time, and they were all about it.
And you also, so from the drawing, that didn't work out for you, so you went into, and you still do photography. I mean, that's got to help you big time as far as movie making, and obviously framing shots and things like that.
Absolutely. That's where I kind of got sidetracked there. I did, in my junior year in high school, I picked up a camera in photography class. I didn't know what I was doing. It clicked for once. The artist in me finally found where it belonged. I got accepted into the advanced placement photography my senior year, and a friend of mine saw an image I did, and he said, have you ever thought about making movies? And I said, making movies? How do you make movies? I mean, that's Hollywood. You don't do that. And he gave me some books, and I started reading, and I actually failed my pre-calculus class, and my teacher passed me with a D because he liked me, because I was reading film books.
There you go.
He gave me True Romance to watch, and I was, for some reason, that movie I watched it 3 times that night, and it clicked. I said, I have to do this. I don't know how to do it, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
And about a couple weeks later, he gave me The Last House on the Left. Actually, he told me about Last House on the Left, and I had to pay $50 for a dubbed copy out of Miami Beach at the time.
Wow.
And I watched that 3 times, and I was like, okay, I can do this. So it made sense to me. I went and bought like a $1,200, at the time it was $1,200 camera that you could probably get for $50 now. And I made my first movie.
That's great. I mean, how in the editing process are you in the editing room with your editor, or do you kind of let him have a little bit of free reign? I mean, it's your first film. You were probably there, I would think.
Absolutely not. I was not. I learned, when I started in film, I actually learned a lot from Robert Rodriguez. So, his book, Rebel Without a Crew, was a huge influence on me. And I thought I had to do everything. And I had to DP it myself. I had to direct it. I had to write it. I had to edit it. I had to, lay in the sound effects. And when I got to college, I worked they didn't let us do that. So I quickly learned that I'm not the best editor in the world, and I worked with this guy, Justin Trim, on my movie Motherhood with Neatson, that first film I did with Neatson, and the guy just blew me away. What he came up with, I just realized, I'm not an editor. I can edit, but I'm not an editor. There are people out there with a vision. So I let my editor, Andy, have basically first run at it, and then it was 98 minutes, and we kind of parted ways, and I started showing it to people, and I ended up re-editing it down to 89 minutes. They went through about 6 edits. So he did the first edit, and then I did the other 5. So I did have a huge hand in the editing, but I was not there while he edited.
I'm Brian Cox, writer-director of El Muerto, and you're listening to Sci-Fi Talk.
I'm surprised none of the deleted scenes made the DVD.
Well, that's something else I learned about Killing Your Darling. It's not really deleted scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's space that needed to... There were takes that were too long, and we lingered too long, and the movie just moved too slowly.
Right.
So I got rid of a lot of... that original sequence of Amanda Taylor waiting for her boyfriend to come home, Abigail waiting for her boyfriend to come home, ran like 1 minute and 30 seconds. Well, now it's like 25 seconds. So a lot of that waiting I got rid of, and it worked better. So I learned a lot about editing from this movie.
Oh, cool. Now, I mean, there's a love scene in this film too, and I mean it must have been it's your first film and you have a love scene in it. I mean, how did you approach that, and how did it go for you when you actually shot it?
It was terrifying because I didn't know what to expect. I approached Amanda Taylor and I said, "Are you okay with this?" She said, she read it and said, "Well, let me think about it." And she came back and said, "Yes, if it's done tastefully, I'm not going to show my breast." And I said, "That's fine. It's not there for that. I don't need to see your breast. It's there for the character to become crazy, basically." Apparently, at the time, I had completely no idea. She was a virgin. And Philip Ward knew this and had talked to her about it, and they thought I knew, but I had no idea. She fooled me. It was like she knew what she was doing. So,
that's great.
We sent everybody home. The sound guy was there, the camera guy, and then the AC was there. And then it was just Philip and Amanda. So, you know, we were I wanted Amanda to be comfortable, and she says she was. You know, I treated it like a real movie set.
Well, I mean, it worked, and actually, again, by not showing as much as you did,